Hello out there. Welcome to the Heavy Montes Morning Show. America, today's subject, starting off with Charlie Kirk. Now, the Seneca Project has a video out with all of the things that Charlie Kirk has said about black people, about women, and the horrible things that he said. Now, and I said, after all the bars are closed, we're going to be able to talk about it, you know. And I think that I don't need to call him a dirty name this morning. I think that you need to go watch the video, okay, of Charlie Kirk in his own words. You understand? Hmm? And I'm going to post it up on my YouTube channel under a playlist called Seneca Project, okay? Just so you guys can see what Charlie Kirk is and what he was. Not in America. Enough about Charlie Kirk because, I am so happy that they martyred him. I am so happy that they are using this guy to show America who the Republican Party is. Not America. I want to talk about the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is trying and attempting to destroy democracy. And, the Democratic Party is a moral party because the Democratic Party could have destroyed the Republican Party when Biden was president. Biden could have just decimated that Supreme Court and get rid of those bastards. All six of those traitors to the nation. Okay, racist, misogynist pigs. Huh? Uncle Tom. Not America. Now the Supreme Court, okay, who's supposed to be protecting the rights of Americans, are protecting the rights of Donald Trump. That's all we need to say. Now let's see what the Supreme Court may be protecting. A Russian spy, a pedophile, a racist, a misogynist, a liar, and a man who's trying to destroy our nation. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. So the Supreme Court is Donald Trump. They're an arm of Donald Trump. You see what I'm trying to tell you? And the first thing that the Democrats need to do is get rid of them bastards. They're going to resign. The American people on the left and the right, we don't have any trust in them. Because the maggots, who and influencers who did all this shit and went out and made all this money, lying to the American people that Donald Trump is a good man. And these maggots influencers put Donald Trump in power. All of them. All of them. You see what I'm saying? And they are on the TV stations, on the radio, on the web, talking of this shit. If a person supported Donald Trump in any form, in any fashion, any way, they are a pedophile protector and they are not good for you. Huh? That whole, right wing MAGA machine, Facebook, X, you understand? And those tech guys who backed Donald Trump and gave Donald Trump all this fucking money, so he could pay them. America right now has the largest debt in the world. You understand? This is what the Republican Party told you the Democratic Party was going to do. But the Republican Party told the American people, these dumbass maggots, who they say are dumb, Now, I want to go back to Charlie Kirk for a minute. This guy, okay, went on a college campus and said the things that the Seneca Project said he said. He lucky somebody didn't blow his fucking head off a long time ago. Hmm? He was asking for death, looking for it. You see, and he found it. And a maggot killed that motherfucker. White on white crime in Utah. White on white. You see what I'm saying? Now, as a black man and black people, okay, we don't have no time for this bullshit. We're trying to educate our children and fight a corrupt government. Always. Left ain't right. You know what I'm saying? Black people catch hell in this goddamn country. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I'll speak for all of black people. You motherfuckers brought us over here on a goddamn ship, worked us half the fucking death for nothing, and raped our children, and did all these goddamn shit to us. And you're telling people that we, the black people, who stand with God through all of this shit, you understand? We are here to show you what Christians are. Huh? People who have been slaves, huh? You know, you know, people who have went through all this stuff, but we trust God and we trust America and we trust the Constitution. We're going to send our children to schools, and you're not going to be able to burn down fucking, Black Wall Street like you did. You see what I'm saying? Because the government, especially these maggots, you understand? The reason why they don't want you to see the black people get ahead because they don't want you to get ahead. Hmm? And they're working real hard, you so-called white people, to keep you down. You understand? Because the black people get ahead. Now, I'm going to tell you a couple of stories here. Everybody knows that Heavy Monte is a firefighter. Okay? I used to be the commissary officer. I fight forest fires. I serve my country. Okay? And protect people. So, anyway, there was a big fire in McCall, Idaho. Okay? And my buddy, he took me down to the KKK. They had their little headquarters, and they had a sign in Utah. And I looked at it, and I was able to walk up to that KKK office and look at that shit. You know what I'm saying? In Idaho. And a lot of these retired policemen, a lot of racists, they go to Idaho. Okay. So anyway, so a white lady picked me up, gorgeous woman, in a truck when I came to town because I'm the commissary officer and I got to come and buy up all this shit and set up a camp so we can put this motherfucking forest fire out and save the lives of people. She told me, she said, hey, we had a conversation. She's a nice lady. And I didn't get mad with her because I like to listen to racists so I can be able to talk about it. And she said, you know, we white people got to stick together. And I said, and she wasn't white either. She was like, maybe Greek or Italian or something. She said, we white people got to stick together because you black people stick together and y'all getting ahead of us. You know what I'm trying to tell you? And basically what she was saying, hey, look, we got to do whatever we got to do to keep you black people down because we don't want y'all ahead of us. You see? I didn't get mad. I just looked at her. And I could have fired the bitch on the spot if I wanted to, but I didn't do that. I said she had it right to her goddamn opinion. Okay. So anyway, now, and I call her a bitch because she's a fucking racist. Okay. So anybody who out there who's saying, well, I should call her a bitch, she's a bitch. Now, anyway, America, then I almost had to beat the shit out of goddamn dude on a ride, airport ride, transit ride. The vans pick you up. So I was in Florida, okay, and I had to go to a meeting, and the whites on the van was saying some racial shit, saying that black people were stupid. We need to read these books, and I told him, I said, look, man, I said, I don't want to talk politics. I said, leave me alone with this shit. But the whole time, and I was in San Francisco. And in San Francisco, you go up these hills, you get to your hotel and shit, you're tired and shit. I had a flew from Alaska and I was in a bad mood. So I told that motherfucker, I said, you don't get the fuck out of my goddamn face, I'm gonna fuck you up right here. Okay? And he left. And all the people in the van told him, said, why are you passing this guy? Why don't you stop this shit? Because I was gonna fuck him up. I was that angry. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I was a fat as fucking nose, his nose like mine. Well, anyway, and I'm not a violent man. I love people. But they felt he deserved to get his fucking ass kicked for fucking with me. Okay. Then, okay, I'm gonna tell you something else. Okay. Then, I was working for the federal government, which I tell you is a racist organization, Democrats and Republicans. And I was the Freedom of Information officer, the FOIA officer, and I was doing all this shit and supervising nothing but handicapped people. And it was very difficult. You know, I should say disabled. I'm trying to get them help. I had to talk to their counselors, and I'm proud of the work. The governor gave me an award for working with the disabled and get them work. Her husband was the boss, and the federal government said, "Okay, this is Heavy Monte's job. He's working for nothing, but he's doing the work of a person whose job was higher than my boss." You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? So they would have to take and redo my job description and make me, you know, a higher rank than my boss. Personnel and the racists got it, and the racists called me over. This is Spanish guy. He said, "This isn't your job." What the fuck you mean this isn't my job? He said, "No, this ain't your job. We're not going to do this yet. So these motherfuckers took and said, okay, we got to do something right now because we want to protect this job for this white lady. Okay? And the husband wrote a letter saying, hey, look, that I, who was doing all this work, was incompetent, didn't have my job, so he's going to point his fucking wife to the fucking job. And made me do the job still. What can I do? I could raise any hell. You know what I'm trying to tell you? Because I had to take care of my family. You know, I touched some shit, they fired my ass. You know what I'm saying? Or something. So what I did, I told her, I said, I'm not doing this job. You understand? You said I'm a lower rank. That's all I'm doing. Don't come over asking me shit. And everything fell apart. You see what I'm saying? So things were falling apart, and I was raising hell. And they said, we're going to get rid of this guy. So what they did, well, they sent me out to a place, I'm going to call the name of this place, called Campbell Track, with nothing but racists. Which is racist, right? Okay? Black men go there to die. Black people scared to, afraid to go out there. So many fucking racists, they say. They sent me out there, and all of a sudden, I'm doing really good out there too. You know what I'm saying? Everybody loved me out there, right? So the racists said to me, boss, because they were all working in cahoots, try to get rid of me. They said, okay, this is what we're going to do. So they can give this white lady a job. This is what we're going to do. They said, we'll get him in here. So the big boss called me in and he said, look at here, Harry Monte. So you're the receiving officer and you didn't receive these motorcycles and we got to pay a bunch of taxes and shit on them because we didn't pay the vendor on time. I said, what the fuck you talking about, man? I said, I'm not even a goddamn receiving officer. Nobody told me I'm a goddamn receiving officer. That's the easiest job in the world. You know what I'm saying? You don't get fucked up. You don't get the fuck out of my face with that bullshit. Because I was pretty violent back then. All right, so anyway, what happened, is that my boss came in, because my boss would have had to be the one to write me up. My boss said, let me tell you something. So you better not mess with this guy. You know what I'm saying? Say, what's happening right now, I'm not going to back you on this one. Okay, as my boss said, if you want to go ahead and try to fire this man, you go right fucking ahead. But I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to get yourself hooked up in some trouble. So he asked this white guy, who's the boss, he said, how come this black man is down here and these racists, we ain't getting on him? Jim Shiffer said, let me tell you, I'm going to call Jim's name. He said, let me tell you something, man. He said, my boss, he said, this black guy is one of them. So he's just a bigger redneck as all of these people there. They love him. He played their music. You know what I'm saying? They hang out with him. They're going to protect him. And they're all going to come after you. Huh? Bill, he's dead. Bill Evans, that's his name. And he died later on. Huh? He had a fucking massive heart attack and died. Fucking alcoholic anyway. Shouldn't even been in the job. They said he was screwing women that worked for him and all this shit. Okay, in the open. Doing stuff like that. So anyway, to the end of the story, our director said, where in the hell is Heavy Monte? He said all kind of shit is going down. Okay, what happened was there was an ice road, and somebody put in a freedom of information request saying that the ice road was full of garbage and shit. And the director, our deputy guy, didn't want to take and release it. So she failed. I told her, I said, look, these files got to come out. These records got to go out, just like they're doing with Trump trying to hold the records. I said, because they're going to get us. And what happened was, she told me, she said, no. She said, we're going to withhold the records, right? Well, they tried to withhold the records, and then the goddamn on paper, it said, the Bureau of Land Management is trying to withhold records. And my freaking name, say not my name, but the FOIA. So the big boss said, get Heavy Monte back down here. He called me in and he said, hey, look, what's going on? I said, you got to release these goddamn records and tell them that your FOIA officer, made a mistake. We can be taking it perfect. And I said, they'll let it go. And they'll tell us that you don't do that shit no more. Okay, and so we did that. So then this black man, the director, called all of his staff and the team leaders. And he said, I want to tell you one damn thing. Heavy Monte is the FOIA officer. He speaks to me and you do what the hell he says. Okay? Don't ever argue with him again. And they didn't. They gave me respect, promoted me 2 grades, and got rid of the lady who, she retired, she and her husband. You understand? Heavy still survived because I was good and I am good at my freaking job. You see? And but the maggots, Charlie Kirk and the boys, and Donald Trump and all of them are telling people that black people are dumb. They're the fucking dumbass who voted for Donald Trump. And Donald Trump said they were dumb and stupid. Okay, America, this is the Heavy Monday Morning Show. Just a quick story for you. And 15 minutes and 25 seconds on this podcast, and I don't want to hold you people too long. I just want to let you tell you one thing. Yeah? Black America built this freaking country. And the reason why the maggots are trying to destroy us, so they can destroy you. Huh? The so-called white America. Huh? Because they're saying, you know, that the government is really bad. You see what I'm saying? But it's not bad when you see blacks going to school and doing all these kind of things, because that's what we're doing. We ain't got no time. You can call us all the names you want, whatever the fuck you want to do to us. And minorities, that's true. The American Indian, that's anybody. That's the Greeks, that's German, that's the American people, that's the liberals. You understand? Because I don't believe in race. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe in, in taking and, using race, against people. I believe in loving every freaking body. You understand? So this is Heavy Monte for the Heavy Monte podcast and the Heavy Monte Morning Show, saying never ever vote for a Republican. Huh? And remember, black people, save them. Make damn sure you work for them to survive. Because black people fall, they're coming for your ass next, you so-called white man, white women. Please subscribe to the Heavy Monte podcast and the Heavy Monte YouTube channel. And have a great day.